Well, I guess we're going to wind this thing down at some point here because we could just keep talking for a long time, I think.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
there anything that we haven't said? You had a whole list, and maybe there's something on there that you really feel like, well, this has got to be out there.
Well, I mean, I think like for me, the important thing for me to get out there to people is simply that there is a psychological cost that exposing yourself on the internet. And it's something that we love to do. We love to share and expose ourselves to the internet. And so for me, the thing that I have really learned, because as I said, I used to be mercenary. I wasn't interested in the shows I was making. I was interested in the paychecks. That really changed for me, and I became vitally interested in the shows. And I started to see their value. So I sort of had a reversal. And at the same time, I began to realize that people are in all ways, whether they're writing op-eds or they're tweeting or they're on YouTube, are putting themselves in harm's way. I'm not saying like, oh my God, there's this harm. I'm saying be conscious about your interaction with this medium. It's very powerful. And once you sort of involve yourself, the trolls come out of the woodwork, the people saying horrible things, as soon as you expose yourself, horrible things can happen to you. So for me, it's mainly that like this medium is maturing. Our access to it is increasing. The way it's affecting us, vis-a-vis the president, for example, is really shifting all the cultural sort of norms and sands. And I'm saying, okay, great. There's no turning back, but let's be aware. Let's bring awareness to this aspect,
Yeah, yeah. The people that really need to hear that message are young people. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I'm starting to imagine you going to high schools and giving a presentation of some sort. I know you don't want me heaping more work on your plate.
So I want to always travel where I'm needed. I have this specialty, and so people within the reality world, I have a special thing to offer them. But I also feel like there's something very human about the whole experience. Example of who you are. I mean, it goes to the core of ourselves. Reality TV and the way we project ourselves on these platforms goes right to the core of who we are, how we build ourselves, what we think of ourselves versus what the world sees of us. They're like really core identity questions that are embedded within the reality TV and the possibilities that it brings, whether it's Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, or broadcast television. It is like uh, all of Jung's sort of elemental pieces. The self, the persona, the shadow, the anima and animus. Like those are like social media is like a third rail for these aspects of the self.
Yeah.
It can be completely benign when the power is turned off, but when the power is turned on, it will just, the shock it will give one. Anyone who's been on the end of a troll, event knows what I'm talking about. It can be really sort of self-shattering, and it's hard to hold on to yourself when that kind of energy is bounced back to you. Just in the same way that the stars of the 60s, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, you name them, they were destroyed by the projections of this mass culture, which was a new thing. And that's too much for anyone to bear. I'm speaking from a depth perspective here.
Yeah.
But likewise, when those projections and that vitriol and the anger and the confusion is put onto you via the internet, it's too much to bear as well, and it can destroy somebody.